Hello, thank you for joining me today. I had this inspiration, and nowadays, a lot of times I wanted to let my inspiration run and just kind of go from that space instead of trying so hard, right? And forcing myself to do something that I wasn't ready or I just didn't feel like it. But this has been on my mind. So, since last Friday, I talked to a peer of mine, and she is in the marketing industry. And so we started talking about how I most of the time doesn't resonate with the marketing strategy that's out here in the world, and I often find myself butting head against them, and something is just not resonating with me for some reason. And she was so precisely point out that it was beautiful. She said, "Yeah, they use a lot of hooks," and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is it," because I always felt like the um, marketers always trying to say, "Hey, you know what? Come to my program, and I will increase your income by tenfold, and then I will help. You will find by the end of the program, they make all these promises that you will find your partner, have better health, and this and that, and so it's." Basically it has to be part of the program that they have to promise something. And so my that peer of mine, they she used the word hooks, and I was like, yeah, that is exactly what it is. And so oftentimes I have been thinking about my service, and I really wanted to be out there to help people, but I just couldn't find or formulate a message that resonate with me, and at the same time other people can understand and see what I do, right? And I always found that not to be boastful or things like that, but I really find my service to be valuable, but just other people don't get it. And I was just really frustrated about it. And I felt like, okay, in order for people to understand what I do, I have to say exactly, it's almost like the formula that was given to me. But I just find it hard because I don't like those kind of wordings like, it's not your fault. A lot of the times, like they would say that, and I guarantee you, this is my guarantee, this is my promise, and if you don't get this out of the program, then this will happen, and then you will get a refund and things like that. And I not only have I been beaten by different coaches in the past on educating me, right? Educating me that how my message and my title is just not attractive enough, and it I couldn't get client from that. But at the same time, I'm like, but I am myself. I'm freaking tired of all those programs out there that they kept telling me that you come to my program, this is what you get. I promise you, I guarantee you. And I just know that at the deepest heart of me, that I just know that nobody can ever guarantee the result for me, right? Unless they do all the work, unless they sell, unless they do everything for me. But even then, it really depends on me. If it's my service, my business, or whatever that it is, it has to depend on me. Therefore, it's never that never feels right for me to promise something and guarantee something, because how can I guarantee my client or whoever that's interested in my program to have the same result? And we were never the same person to begin with, and I don't have a complete control on their schedule, on their routine, on their thoughts and feelings. It's really hard for me to get to that point and say, well, I guarantee you, I promise you. And the reason is I cannot do the work for them. It's just like swimming and breathing. I can be there, to hold your hands, to show you the techniques and guidance and provide a space for you, but I can never do the breathing or the swimming or learning riding the bike for you. you have to do it yourself, right? So it's really depends on the person, and how committed they are, and if they have any kind of background noise. It's like, um, it was really hard for my mom to learn swimming because she always had this belief that she can never be a swimmer. So even though I encouraged her to take some swimming classes, halfway through she'd be like, "Oh, I got ear infection," and things like that. So it's not that her ability, sometimes, it's not her ability that she cannot learn, but it's all the voices and the noises behind her that's telling her that, that it's not meant for her. And there can be a valid reason, right? But for us, we have to be able to be able to discern, not concern, but discern, what is it that is holding us back. If that is something that is truly that you want to achieve, and what is the resistance there. So for me, I am a very practical person. I am very down to earth. I don't like to blow things out of proportion. I pretty much say what it is, and I tend to. I see myself as the person that always tells the truth, at least the truth that I see. I can understand that different people will have different version of the truth, because we all have different experience in life. And like I said to a friend of mine, just maybe a month or two ago, I said, your truth can be very different than mine. For me, apple might be like a delicious fruit, but for someone else, it might be almost like a poison, because they could be allergic to apple. And, like apple has nothing good to provide, and to uh, never able to provide the nutrients for them, because they are um, allergic to it to begin with. Versus for me, I can like eat apple every day. So every person's truth can be slightly different, or can be very different. So at the best, I can only say my truth to you, and I am committed to doing that, like what I see and what I hear. And I honestly don't know how to say anything else other than the truth. It's just not my personality to make things up, to sugarcoat things, and I don't even know how to. Um, and coming from that, I don't like to bait people. I don't like to use hooks. I don't like to bait people to get them in, and then I forget about them. My messaging and the way I say things can be very plain. It kind of exists in all areas of my life. It's as if when I make a dish, cooking right in the kitchen, packaging is never something that I would be concerned of. Maybe towards the latest 30 seconds. It was always me thinking about, is it tasteful? Does it taste good? It's my ingredient good? How does it come out? But it's never about the packaging. I have an aunt that told me a while back, quite a while ago, she doesn't know how to cook. And one time, she would make a dessert, and she would tell me when I was younger, she was like, well, because I don't know how to cook, all I care is about the packaging, so that I can like tempt people to try it, right? Because she knows that she doesn't really have the content when it comes to the dish, right? The dessert, whatever that is that she was making, that the taste might not be the biggest component of her dish, and therefore she had to rely on packaging to kind of lure people in. And for my mom, she knows how to cook really, really well. And packaging, the presentation, the plating, it's never anything that she cares about. It's like, but she knows her food tastes good. And that's how I am too. It's like, yeah, I don't really care, how it looks like, as long as it tastes good. But of course, now that I have experienced more in life, I understand that packaging is also quite important, because that's the first thing that comes through our eyes. That's the feeling that we get. And if the packaging doesn't look that great, people might not even try it. So, but for me, I always tended to look more on the content than the packaging because I know that sometimes, depending on how people use the words and how do they present, it really, a lot of times, they really turn me off, and I'm like, oh yeah, you're just one of those people that, all fluff and there's no content. And so I tend to attract people that has a lot of content, and sometimes they have the packagings and sometimes they don't, but I am able to pierce through and see what is behind the scene. And yeah, all these guarantees and promises, it's just tiring. I don't know if you are, but I am. I certainly am. And I have voiced it to some people, and sometimes they say it. But I really felt like a lot of people just take it as is. They never challenge, and that's how I was for a long time. It's like, oh my gosh, like in order to be so-called successful, I have to adopt their formula. However, the formula never resonated with me. And but people after people and coaches after coaches would tell me, yeah, you're not going to be successful because you don't have the languaging, right? You don't have the specific languaging to hook people in. And honestly, that really doesn't seem that high of an integrity to me. And I've known coaches that, they keep on switching programs. They always call it a beta, and then they would lurk you in, and then what they present before you pay them and what they show you after, it's like very different. And then they tend to omit details, and I don't like that. For that type of people, I would never, never, ever do business with them ever again. I would never, ever recommend people to them. And it just really depends on, they want a quick bucks right now, or they want to really build up their branding and their image, right? For me, it's way more important to always operate from my heart and not care about the quick dollar here and quick dollar there, because I want to be able to sleep at night. I don't want to play tricks on people. And, even when I first met my husband, I'm like, I don't like to play games. I don't like to play the mind games, whatever games that is. A lot of times that happens at the early stages of the dating game, a dating scene, like they play mind games. And, both my husband and I was like, yeah, we don't like to play games. It just either it works or it doesn't. I don't want it to make you think that I'm hard to get, or I don't like any of that. And it just doesn't resonate with my value and with my principle and things like that. So here's the other thing, I had a lady that came to me and she was looking for advice, and she would be telling me, this is another reason why, all these programs and things like the programs that they make the promise and guarantees, I think it's really hard to um, meet the result at times. And that's why I have a lot of reservation on those type of programs, is because that lady that came to me and asked for advice, and she encountered a lot of abusive trauma from her past. And she was telling me that she has such a hard time um, being able to sell her service. And even though when she got on the call and she keep reducing the price, when people they're not interested, and they're not buying, and she kept reducing the price on the call, and even then they don't buy. And she was so confused, like, I don't get it, why, but the thing is, what she's not seeing is that she herself, because she has so many um, you call it trauma in the past, and it really make her feel like she's not a valuable person, and she's not lovable, and she's just not deserving and not worthy. And so how can she sell anything that has a dollar price tag, right? Because in her experience, that's what she believed herself to be, not valuable. She's damaged, she's unworthy. And let me ask you this: when you go to a car dealership and wanted to buy the car, or anything that you can think of, And the salesperson there is like, well, you ask them like, what do you think? It's like, I don't know. I'm not quite sure. So that is a lot of times like what um, I went through that phase too, and and that lady that came up, that I encountered, she was vibrating that kind of energy that basically it's just invisible, but it's there, the energy that I'm unworthy. Don't buy it from me because you're gonna get a damaged good, right? So that's basically what she's vibrating, but she's not understanding that part. And a lot of people don't see it because all we are thinking and we've been taught, we've been brainwashed, is that as long as our packaging looks good, then we can disguise. We can uh, how do you say it? There, I know there's a terms that saying that you're the wolf underneath, but you wear the sheep skins and something like that. So, but no, that doesn't really work because you're not vibrating the sheep's vibration, and people can tell. People that are sensitive enough, they can tell. And I'm one of those that it's like, well, what you're saying and what you're providing has to be congruent for me to believe and trust you. So, for me, if I go to that car dealership, I would just walk out and not buying anything if they don't even believe in the product that they are selling, right? So, especially when we are selling service, like, do we believe in the service that we provide? Can we really guarantee people and make promises? Well, unless you're doing all the work, like if you're doing something like resume writing, you can guarantee that because you're going to write it for them. But can you guarantee them get a job? No. You can never guarantee people to get a job unless you are able and have the power to create a position for that person. Otherwise, if you are a coach, a hiring coach or whatever job change coach, I met quite a few of them lately. They can never ever guarantee somebody to land a job. They can provide the resume, they can provide leads, but it's all up to them how they perform on an interview and whether it's a match to the company, right? So so I'm just trying to share. I'm here to share, what kind of person I am, what kind of guide, what kind of partner I am to you if you are ever interested in any of my service. For me, I always believe in that our foundation is hugely important, and that's what I did not do, and I never learned how to do it. I have so many emotional gunk and blockages from my past that I just thought that if I just shove them aside and not pay attention to them, and I'll be fine. I will just be, the packaging on the outside. If I have the perfect packaging and I dress accordingly and nicely, I'll be fine. And that was not the case. And so when I was able to transform my inner world, my outer world changed accordingly, as well as if I was looking for support and confidence from the external world, I never were able to get it until I started building my confidence and supporting myself and believing in myself. So what I'm here and my service is to really offer you the space and guidance and the tools and techniques so that I can guide you to get to know yourself in a much deeper level, and therefore you can be connected to your soul, and you are able from that point to embrace who you are, to love yourself unconditionally. And from that point forward, you can attract and manifest all that you want. And that would be the place you want to attract and manifest, because when you feel really broken and damaged, guess what you're attracting? You're attracting events and people and places that offer the same vibration as you. So rather for us to be complaining of our reality, how it's so unfair, but it's the fairest game ever. the universal law is that when we can vibrate, whatever we vibrate, we attract. So first of all, in order to, fix your, let's say, your financial situation, your health situation, and your uh, partnership situation, these are the three big things that we human all wanted, right? So deeply. And if we have that solid foundation within us, and on the outside, you're going to attract equally or better, right? Um, people and situation and jobs and events, that you can never imagine, you would never imagine. And how some people always wound up with the same pattern in their life but different phases. And I have stories to tell you on that. I experienced that myself. Yeah, it happens at different places, different events, and different phase of my life, but they're the same pattern. And do we notice that? And oftentimes we don't. And that's why a lot of people, years ago, I was staying with, uh, uh, I know a family, and one of the sister, she remarried 3 times, and always wound up to be like end up with an abusive husband, and she had to leave them. And I didn't understand anything at that time. I was much younger. But now that is a perfect example how, if we don't fix our inner world, our outer world will remain the same, but just with different faces in different places. So, um, if you're willing to do the work, I am 100% committed to be walking the journey with you so that you don't feel lonely, you don't feel helpless. It happened to me, when I was walking my path at the beginning, for the most part, I felt really lonely. I didn't really have anybody to talk to. I didn't feel like anybody gets the path that I'm on. It just, I didn't have friends. I didn't have my tribe. Nobody understand it. So it was really, really, really lonely. And at times it was very frustrating and depressing because sometimes you just want a year to hear you out, to count it as a sounding board, right? And I didn't have that, and I know how frustrating that can be. And if you're willing to do the work, I'm here for you, but I cannot promise you anything because I cannot think for you, I cannot meditate for you, I cannot reflect for you. I mean, we can reflect together, but there are things that you just have to be able to do yourself and commit to yourself. And I cannot eat for you, right? So, but I am here, I'm willing to hold a space for you. And um, if you're willing and I'm willing, because that's the most powerful partnership that we can ever be, is we are on the same page, right? And so there is no disagreement, misconception, misunderstanding. And honestly, at the end, I wanted to say here that I don't even want to call myself a coach, but I'm not sure if I have a proper word yet, but maybe a guide. I feel more resonated with a guide, and maybe a partner for you, a life, spiritual partner for you that, I'm here to hold a space and teach you and share with you. Actually, might not even be teaching, but it's share with you all the knowledge that I've accumulated for the past 10 plus or 20 plus or 30 plus years. I have a lot of story that was dated back even when I was um, 3, 5, 8, and I've been always searching. I'm always a student myself, and I never stop learning. And I just love, love, love sharing the information. And honestly, I also delve into astrology as well. And I can tell you that the old model, the old paradigm of top down, like I am the guru, you are the student, that is falling away. And I am like, hallelujah, right now it's like the time, it's my time. And all the old beliefs that I never resonated, it's actually falling. It's actually falling down, and we are in the midst of it. It's crumbling, and our next phase, the new era for us, it's like we are all students, we are all teachers together, and we all learn from each other. The thing is, I might just be a couple steps ahead of you, so I can share my wisdom with you to hold your hand because I know what you went through or what you are going through or what is coming your way. I am just a couple of steps ahead of you. But am I your teacher? Well, whatever you call it, but really, it's like I am always a student. I always call myself a student, never stop ever learning because there's so much more for me to experience, to hear, to learn. There's always fascinating studies and ideas and things that I couldn't even comprehend at this stage of my life, but maybe I will down the road. So and the smaller community, this is where we are at now. And we're all equal, we're all um, more of a fair playing field. So we are breaking down from the top down vertical to horizontal, and this is what I'm passionate about. It's that, yes, you can learn, the teacher can learn from the student as well, and which is hard because that's not been the case, right? But we are here to change the paradigm. We are here to change and to reshape and reform how the culture and how our tradition and how our society has been to the new era. And I'm going to leave you with that. I know I kind of went on for a while, but I just wanted to really share that the new what the new energy is about. And I am completely 100% congruent with the new energy, and I was actually like maybe 1% congruent with the old paradigm. That's why it was so hard for me. um, Up until now, it's like, oh my gosh, like I just don't get it, but everybody is buying into that paradigm because um, I guess a lot of people don't challenge, and maybe there's only a small percentage of 1 or 2% of the people that kind of think outside the box and think differently. But really, I um, so many times I've been beaten down by coaches, and I just kind of kept my head down. I kept doing my things. I kept doing my work until I started hearing about the energy that we are entering in right now. And it's super exciting. And it's exactly my cup of tea. So I'm here. And if you have any interest in finding out of what I do, I would love to get to know you as well. We can set up a connection call and see if how we can best help each other out and serve each other. And I will leave you with that, and I will see you next time. Bye.